Welcome my students, welcome to my today's topic. Today we will be discussing on spreadsheet intermediate. Okay, so in this lesson we will cover up AutoSum, conditional formatting, hiding and unhiding rows and columns, freezing a column or a row in a worksheet, setting page breaks, page layout, managing workbook views, applying cell and range names, creating and modifying and formatting charts, okay, etc. Okay, let's start. So Microsoft Excel 2010 is an example of spreadsheet program generally used for performing mathematical tasks, we know. So companies use Excel mainly to record and update their financial records such as profit, sales and marketing. So when we maintain a large number of records in the textual or number format, it is not easy to analyze them. However, Excel has made this analysis easy. Okay. So it provides various advanced features such as sorting, filtering, charts, linking multiple workbooks, etc. Okay, which helps us to deeply analyze data or present it in the desired format to others. So at first we will be discussing about AutoSum in sales. So MS Excel 2010 provides the facility of calculating the sum of numerical values entered in the cells automatically by using the AutoSum feature. So AutoSum feature automatically enters the sum function in the spreadsheet, okay, in the spreadsheet. So therefore we can quickly analyze the values without the need of remembering the syntax of sum function. So in Excel we can access the AutoSum feature by clicking the AutoSum button under the editing group, okay, of the home tab as shown in this figure. The AutoSum feature not only calculates the sum of values but also the average, count, minimum and maximum of values. Okay. Next is conditional formatting. Conditional formatting is a powerful tool in Microsoft Excel that allows us to format a cell or range of cells based on specific conditions. So these conditions are based on the data or value present in the cell. When the value of the cell satisfies the condition format you have selected is applied to the cell. Okay. For example, we want to highlight a cell in a particular color if its value is greater than 500. In this way, we can use conditional formatting to highlight relevant or important worksheet data so that it is easily spotted by a user. So in Excel 2010, the conditional formatting feature has been enhanced and includes new icon sets such as triangle, stars and boxes. In addition, we can now use solid fill and negative values in data bars as well as the direction of the data bars. Okay. So the highlighted cells rules conditional formatting is used to highlight data based on a defined condition. Okay. To set a condition, we need to select the appropriate highlight cell rules conditional formatting option. Okay, so here is the condition formatting, and here are the all options and sub options. So the highlight cells rules conditional formatting includes the following options: greater than, less than, between, equal to, text that contains a data occurring and duplicate values. Okay. Now hiding or unhiding rows and columns. Sometimes there may be some information in a particular row or column that we don't need to view to the other user. It may be that though the information is important, it may not be relevant to the work we are looking, what we are doing at the time. Okay, at the time. At other times, you may want to print only certain columns of a worksheet while leaving out others. In all such cases, rather than rearranging the worksheet, we can simply hide the information that we do not require. So, we can always unhide the information by unhiding the particular rows and columns whenever we want. Okay. So, at first, hide or unhide rows. Okay. So, if we do not want to display a row in a worksheet but may use the row later, we can temporarily hide the row in the worksheet. The hidden row can be easily unhidden or displayed at any time when required. We can unhide the hidden row or rows by selecting the hide and unhide option in the drop down list. Okay. This drop down list is accessed by clicking the down arrow of the format button, okay, under the cells group in the home tab. We can hide a row or rows by right clicking any of their row labels and selecting the hide option from the context menu as shown in this figure. Okay. Okay. Also, we can unhide a hidden row or rows, select the rows adjoining the hidden row or rows and right click anywhere in this selection. Now select the unhide option from the context menu. Here it is the unhide row or rows as shown in this figure. Okay. Now hide or unhide columns. Hiding columns allows us to focus on the data that is relevant to the work we are doing at the time. We can unhide the hidden row or rows by selecting the hide and unhide option in the drop down list. This drop down list is accessed by clicking the down arrow of the format button under the cells group in the home tab. Okay. We can also hide a column or columns by right clicking the respective column heads and selecting the hide option from the context menu as shown in this figure. Just select the column here. Also we can unhide the columns by selecting the columns adjoining the hidden column or columns and then right click anywhere in the selection. Now select the format button, then unhide in the unhide option from the context menu as shown in this figure. Okay. Next is freezing a column or a row in a worksheet. Sometimes we need to view the column and row even after scrolling. In such cases, the freeze panes feature is very useful. Freeze panes freeze certain rows and columns in our worksheet that we want to remain in view while we are working within the worksheet. We can access this feature by clicking freeze panes button under the window group in the view tab as shown in this figure. Okay. Next is the setting page breaks. Page breaks are used in Excel to split a worksheet into multiple pages for printing. Microsoft Excel allows us to insert automatic page breaks on the basis of margin settings, page size, scale option, and the existing manual page break in the sheet. The automatically inserted page breaks are displayed with the dashed line, while the solid line represents the manual page breaks on the worksheet. We can insert a page break by selecting the breaks, then insert page break under the page setup group of the page layout tab. Okay, page layout tab as shown in this figure. Okay. Now setting page layout. Formatting a worksheet refers to the process of changing the appearance of the data so that it can be more readable. A margin refers to the amount of space between the data and the edge of the worksheet. The margin of a page in Microsoft Excel is divided into 6 parts: top, bottom, left, right, header and footer. Okay, header and footer. Okay, Microsoft Excel provides 3 default settings for margins: normal, wide and narrow. Okay, so Microsoft Excel also provides the facility to customize the margin settings according to our requirement. Here is the custom margins. Okay, we can set the margin by clicking the margin button under the page setup group in the page layout tab, and then select the desired margin from the drop down list as shown in this figure. As shown in this figure. Next is managing workbook views. Microsoft Excel allows us to work with different types of views as per our requirement. We can choose any view to see our data on the worksheet. The different types of views in Excel are normal, page layout, page break, preview, custom views and full screen. These views are available in workbook views group in the view tab of the worksheet. Okay, normal, page break view, page layout, custom views. Okay, under the view. The page layout view displays the content of the worksheet as it appears on the page after printing. Okay, then the page break preview is used to break the worksheet into number of pages from certain places during printing. And then custom views allows us to save particular settings for a worksheet, which includes height and width of cell selections, header and footers, page settings, page margins, etc. And full screen view allows us to view the worksheet on full screen. Okay. Next is applying cell and range names. We can create names in Microsoft Excel to refer to cells, cell range or a formula. After you define names to cells or ranges, we can use those names in formulas to replace values or cell references. Apart from this, we can use the names for navigation to quickly select the named cell or range. Assigning a descriptive name to a cell or range in Microsoft Excel helps to make formulas in our worksheets much easier to understand and maintain. Therefore, giving a name to the cell or range make it easier to remember the purpose of the cell or range whenever it is used in a worksheet. Okay. Okay. Specifying a name to the range. In Microsoft Excel, creating names for cells or cell range is very easy. For example, if the cells from B10 to B20 are all sources of income, you could name this cell range income sources and then use that name in different ways, such as in charts and formulas. Okay. Okay. You can specify the name to the range through a new name dialog box. Here is the new name dialog box. Okay, we can access this dialog box by clicking define name button under the define name group in the formulas tab. Now creating, modifying and formatting charts. We know a chart is one of the best ways to present and analyze data visually. It makes easy for user to understand numerical data. In Microsoft Excel, we can create a broad range of customizable charts such as column charts, pie charts, surface charts and bubble charts. A chart is ideal for representing numbers and their relationship with one another. So Microsoft Excel provides various options that allows us to change the appearance of a chart by adding elements such as chart title and axis title and a legend. Okay. So now we will understand the chart type. We can select a chart type depending on the data we want to represent as a chart. Microsoft Excel provides us various types of charts to represent our data. The different types of charts used in Excel are given in this figure, okay, are given in this slide. Number one chart is column chart. Column charts displays each data point as a vertical column where the height of the column corresponds to the value represented by the column. In this chart, the vertical axis represents value scale and the horizontal axis represents various categories that are measured against the value scale. Okay, got it? Next one is bar chart. A bar chart depicts data in the form of horizontal bar. The length of the bar corresponding to the value of the data they represent. Okay. Next one is line chart. Line charts are used to plot continuous data in the form of lines. Therefore, each point on a line chart corresponds to a value here. Okay. A line chart can use any number of data series and you can distinguish the lines by using different colors or line styles. Okay. So, for example, plotting the budget and expenses of an organization as a line chart may enable you to identify cost fluctuations. Next one is pie chart. A pie chart is used to show relative proportion or contributions to a whole, which is contributed by each value in a single data series. Pie charts are more effective while representing a small amount of data. The various sectors or blocks in a pie chart represents data as a proportion of the whole. Okay. Next one is area chart. In an area chart, areas are used to represent values. It is similar to a line chart in that it displays a series as a set of points connected by a line. Okay. However, the difference is that in an area chart, the area below the line is filled with the color. Okay, filled with the color of the line. Area chart helps to draw attention to the total value across a given data. Next one is surface charts in Excel. A surface chart displays a three-dimensional surface that joins a group of data points. Okay, a surface chart is beneficial when we need to find the best combination between two groups of data. It indicates the areas that contain the same range of values in the form of same colors and patterns. Next one is radar chart. Radar chart, also known as the star chart, plots the values of each category along a separate axis that starts at the center of the chart and ends on the outer ring. Okay. Next one is Drabnut chart. Drabnut chart, similar to the pie chart, is used to show the relationship of parts to a whole. However, unlike a pie chart, this chart contains more than one data series. Okay. Next one is XY scattered chart. These are used to show the relationship between the numeric values in two data series. This type of chart represents one data series in the x-axis, that is horizontally, and the other data series in the y-axis vertically. XY charts are usually used to analyze, compare scientific, statistical and engineering values. Next one is bubble chart. A bubble chart is similar to scattered chart or XY chart, with only difference is that it displays bubbles instead of data values. Okay, data points basically. So we can use a bubble chart in place of a XY chart if our data has three data series which contains a set of values. Okay. The size of the bubbles in a bubble chart is determined by the values of the third data series. And the last chart is here, stock chart. The stock chart is used to show the fluctuation of stock prices. However, this chart may also be used to represent scientific data. It is important to organize the data of a stock chart very carefully. Okay. So, Microsoft Excel provides several types of charts to represent worksheet data graphically. Microsoft Excel also provides various tools that allows us to perform various actions on chart. Using these tools, we can resize, move and copy chart. Apart from this, we can add, delete charts as per our requirements. In addition, we can convert a chart of one type to another type. To access the various tools to work with charts, simply select any chart on a worksheet. The chart tools contextual tab appears in the ribbon with 3 tabs: design, layout and format. Okay. We can use these tabs to make various types of changes in the chart. So, as you know, Microsoft Excel provides 11 types of charts. Each of these chart types contains several subtypes of predefined charts. So, we can create any type of chart according to the data we want to represent. However, the idea is to select correct chart to ensure the best visualization for our data. So, we can create a appropriate chart type under the charts group, in the insert tab as shown in this figure. So, after selecting an appropriate chart type for our data, we can use the various options to work with the chart and add various elements such as chart title and axis title to it. Okay. So, these chart elements are those elements available in Microsoft Excel to make our chart look attractive and easier to understand. A chart title helps a user to identify the chart. Okay. So, we can set a title for the chart by clicking the chart title button under the labels group in the layout tab of the chart tools contextual tab, and then select the desired chart title from the drop down list as shown in this figure. Okay. So, the chart you create in MS Excel can be either 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional. 2-dimensional charts consist of x-axis and y-axis, where x-axis is the horizontal axis and that shows the categories of data, and y-axis is the vertical axis that shows the numerical values that measure the data categories. Okay. 3D charts have an axis additional that are called z-axis. So, this axis is the vertical axis and is used to show the depth of the third dimension in the chart. So, axis and axis titles are important parts of an effective chart. The axis titles helps to understand the visual information provided in a chart easily. So, we can set the axis title for a chart by axis title button. Okay. Under the labels group in the layout tab of the chart tools or conceptual tab. Okay. So, now suppose you want to create a chart, but later discover that the chart is not interpreting your data the way you want to do it. In such a case, we can modify the type of chart to another chart type to represent our data. We can convert a chart type into another chart type by using the change chart type dialog box as shown in this figure. So, we can access this dialog box by clicking the change chart type button of the type group under the design tab in the chart tools conceptual tab. Okay. Next one is sorting and filtering data. We can manipulate data by using sort and filter features in Microsoft Excel. The sort feature helps us to rearrange worksheet data to use it more efficiently, while the filter feature allows us to quickly extract relevant data from the worksheet. The sort feature in Excel 2010 has been enhanced and can now be used to sort data by color. So, at first, sorting data. Sorting data means rearranging the data according to the given criteria. So, we can also sort the data in alphabetical order or according to a particular field in the worksheet. We can perform two types of sorting in MS Excel, automatic and custom. Okay. So, automatic sorting sorts data in the ascending or descending order, while custom sorting sorts and displays data based on criteria or conditions specified by a user. In custom sorting, you can select the column based on which you want to perform the sorting. Okay. And then the filtering. Filtering data refers to the process of retrieving specific data from a worksheet which meets the criteria specified by a user. Filtering data allows us to hide irrelevant data without actually deleting the data from the worksheet. Filtering can be applied on textual as well as numeric data. The filter option is available under the editing group of the home tab. Okay, here is the, when we select a single or multiple columns of data in a worksheet and apply filtering on the columns, down arrow buttons appear on each head of the selected columns. We can also display the down arrow buttons by selecting any cell in a worksheet and apply filtering on the cell. We can filter data in three ways: automatic filtering, filtering based on a specified condition, and custom filtering. Okay. Now it is calculating data across the worksheets. In Excel, sometimes we need to work on multiple worksheets. Let us take an example. We are handling sales report of past 2 years, that is 2016 and 17, as shown in these following figures. Okay. Now we want to create a report on third worksheet in which we want to display the total sales of last 2 years in different cities, as shown in this figure. Okay. Next one is using multiple workbooks and linking cells. In Excel 2010, we can consolidate data of a worksheet into another worksheet. Suppose we want to calculate the total sales of city Lucknow in the year 2016 in another worksheet. Okay, as shown in this figure. Okay. So now selecting the data from the multiple workbook as shown in this figure. Okay. Now calculation done on the worksheet gets displayed in the sheet number 1 here. Okay. And last, sharing worksheet data. Excel 2010 provides the facility of sharing a workbook at a location on the network from where multiple users can work on the workbook. We can share a workbook by clicking the share workbook button under the change group in the review tab as shown in this figure. Okay. Thank you.